Let's queer up health. Conservative states increase surveillance of people traveling for abortions or gender-affirming care. According to a new report, patients seeking out-of-state abortions and gender-affirming care are at risk of increased surveillance from law enforcement. The Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, also known as STOP, released a report detailing the elevated dangers for patients who travel for abortions or gender-affirming care. STOP Executive Director Albert Fox-Khan said, quote, even as progressive states seek to protect abortion and gender-affirming care within their borders, anti-choice states are expanding the threats that they will prosecute residents who leave the states to find evidence-based medical treatment, end quote. Khan emphasized that patients must understand how they can be tracked by law enforcement even when outside of the state. The report comes a little over a year after the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade, which eliminated the 1973 precedent granting the constitutional right to abortion. The new Supreme Court decision let states limit or ban the procedure. Since then, several Republican-led states moved against the residents' rights to abortions. STOP Research Director Eleni Manis said that while there's no open road anymore, they are relatively safer travel methods. The report noted taking taxi rides would lower the risk in some cities that don't collect ridership data. I think it is time for blue states to basically says we are no longer cooperating with any of your law enforcement as long as these laws are in the books. Because, I mean, and also inform the companies. Basically, California need to pass a law that says that Uber and Lyft and any data collection agency cannot share the travel data of anyone within the borders of California to wherever. Because as long as they cannot see where they're going, they can prosecute.
I think we've officially entered the era of Big Brother is watching, and I'm not talking about the TV show.
No, I mean, it has been for a long time.
Well, let's talk about, I won't mention any names, but their initials are Facebook, that I could look up something on my home computer and all of a sudden it shows up on my phone. And it's like, delete Facebook. But you know, a lot of this is as a result of just no regulation of this information that gets out there, and we don't know it's out there, and you know, it's going to be a struggle to get back to, you know, the privacy guaranteed to us by the Constitution.
Regulation always comes after innovation, because we don't know how to regulate if there's no innovation. So the problem here is that they're not physical objects like cars or, you know, planes or trains. They are ether. You know, the data is ether. It just floats in the air. How do you regulate handling of that?
Well, next.
No. I'm sorry. I thought you had to come. I want to. I'm sorry. Before we move on here.
Yeah.
Yes. First off, don't rely on privacy. Everything, you know, once you type in the last 4 digits of your social security to one person, you text it to everyone. So this to me is a constitutional issue, the right to travel for whatever reason. If my dad in Indianapolis wants to travel up to Michigan where recreational weed is legal, are we saying that Indiana could track him going 2 miles across the border and then arrest him, not being caught with it, but just for traveling to go get it and having it in Michigan? And I would hope that the answer would be no. Now, there's some data, and this came down, this is from a CNN article that was posted today on Thursday, that talks about the impact that forcing women to carry unviable pregnancies to term. These are women who a lot of them are people who don't want abortions. They want to have a child, but their child is going to be born either stillborn or is going to struggle to breathe for a few days, and there's nothing that these grieving parents can do about it.
The impact on the mothers.
Right. So apparently in Texas last year, 2,200 infants died, an increase of 227 deaths, or Texas is a big state, so we'll put it in proportion, 11.5%. So almost 1 in 8 pregnancies increased pregnancies over that time. Infant deaths caused by severe genetic and birth defects rose 21%. 21%. And these are folks, like I said, that want to have a baby, but they don't want to see their child suffer for an inevitability that is coming. Texas has banned abortions beyond the 6th week of pregnancy. So that's the impact. And so to say that these women are now going to be prosecuted for those that have the funds. Many of these people didn't have the funds to fly to New York or go over to New Mexico. These people are the ones that are suffering from this. And the idea that Texas can now follow them, to put a GPS tracker in their uterus and say, no, 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 you got to stay here or stay out of a blue state is reprehensible.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No,
then.
I mean, the surveillance has just gone so out of control now with facial recognition, you know, all that stuff. And also, you know, there's a whiff of mainland China about this. And mainland China is notorious of sending undercover cops to America, to other European countries to survey and, you know, arrest their dissidents, like secretly, throw them into the car, fly them back out of China, and suddenly you're in the courtroom and you're sentenced to, you know, get shot in the head. And, but, you know, now that's red state tactic now. I mean, it's the same thing. You just use cops and just follow them out to outer state, to outer areas that you're not in your bloody jurisdiction.
They've actually created a commercial or a little video, or I don't know what they call them anymore because I'm old. Did I mention I'm old? It was a mother taking her daughter, clearly for an abortion, and they get pulled over by the cops. I don't know if I remember seeing it. I'd have to pull it up, and somebody could probably Google it and find it. But, you know, this was the warning this was from last year. This was from last year. I remember seeing this. And now that
here we see it.
It's just getting out of control. And, you know, at some point, I want to know, when can we punch back? Because these are clearly punches at us.
For sure.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.